Good morning, all of you. My name is Simran Jain. Today's topic will be Goods and Services Tax, that is GST. So, in last lecture, we have discussed what is the difference between direct tax and indirect tax. So, GST is a type of indirect taxes. Earlier, we used to pay so many indirect taxes. Earlier, there were many different types of indirect taxes which were paid individually, but now from July 2017, GST has been implemented in India, in which all those 17 taxes have been subsumed under GST. So GST is a type of indirect tax. As we have previously discussed, what is an indirect tax? Indirect tax is a tax which we paid indirectly to the government through a government representative, and it is levied on goods and services which we consume. So what is GST? Goods and Services Tax is a comprehensive tax levied on manufacture, sales, and consumption of goods and services at a national level. All the products and services which we consume, we pay GST onto it, and GST is a type of indirect tax which is levied at each stage of sale or purchase of goods or services based on input tax credit mechanism. If we talk about GST in simple words, GST is ONOT, one nation, one tax. Earlier, the tax regime was very difficult. We used to pay many different types of taxes, but then GST was introduced in which we will only pay one tax. So GST is one nation, one tax. We'll pay only one type of tax for all the goods and services which we consume. Apart from few goods which are exempted, all other goods and services which we consume, which we use, we will pay only GST on that goods. So GST is a type of indirect tax. If we talk about history of GST, it was introduced by BJP government in 2000. It was discussed, or you can say it was announced in Union Budget 2006-7 that it will be applicable from 1st April 2010. First bill in Lok Sabha was passed on 6th May 2015, and after that one bill was passed in Rajya Sabha on 3rd August 2016, and GST was implemented by July 2017. So if we talk about features of GST, so GST is a dual indirect tax structure. So here the term dual means why it is called dual tax structure, because under GST we pay two types of GST. One is central goods and services tax and other is state goods and services tax. So we pay tax, half tax is paid to central government and half tax is paid to state government. So that is why GST in India is called a dual GST, because GST is paid in part. We pay half tax to central government under CGST head, and we pay half tax to state government under SGST head. Now, second, no distinguish between goods and services. GST does not distinguish between goods and services. We have a single tax structure. We have a single unified tax structure, and it is paid on both goods and all the services which we consume. It is applicable on supply of goods and services. So GST is applicable on the supply of goods and services. All those goods and services which we supplied or which we used or which we consumed, or you can say all those goods and services which we use by sale, which we use by transfer, by barter, by exchange, by license, by rental, by lease, by disposal. That means all the forms of supply of goods and services which are in the course or furtherance of business are included in goods and services tax, and it is paid to the accounts of central and state government separately. For example, if we have a good and the GST on that good is 18%, so we are liable to pay 9% GST to the central government under CGST head, Central Goods and Services Tax, and we have to pay 9% of the good 9% of the tax in SGST head, States and Goods and Services Tax. So GST is a place and time of supply is crucial. Why it is said that place and time of supply is crucial? Because GST is a consumption based tax. So the place where it is consumed, the place where it is supplied, we pay taxes over their own on that place only. So that is why the place and time of GST of supply of goods and services is crucial. It is paid on transaction value. We paid the GST on the transaction value, on the transaction which we are incurring, the amount of that transaction. We pay GST on that transaction. Input tax credited to the business house. We have input tax credit business house mechanism under GST. It's revenue neutral rate and the objective is to remove multiplicity of taxes. So under GST, the main objective was to remove multiplicity of taxes. As I've already told you earlier, there were many types of taxes which were included in indirect taxes. Like there were state excise duty, there were additional excise duty, there was service tax, there were countervailing duty, there were additional custom duties, there was sales tax, there were entertainment tax, there was central sales tax, there were luxury tax, octroi duty, purchase taxes, betting and gambling taxes. So there were different types of taxes which we were used to pay under indirect tax head. So now GST, which was applicable from July 2017, have removed all those taxes, or you can say have subsumed all these taxes under one head, which is called goods and services tax. That is why it is called one nation, one tax. So GST is a single document for tax purpose and a single return filed with the central registry. So it is a single document. GST is a single document for tax purpose and we file single return with central registry. Taxpayer to submit periodical return in common format to both central and state GST authority. For example, if we have purchased a good from a manufacturer for rupees 10,000, so we pay as a consumer, we have already paid the taxes for goods and we have paid the amount of goods. So now it is the duty of the seller to pay GST. So all those sellers or all those manufacturers who have exempted the threshold limit of 20 lakh rupees have to pay GST. So they have to get themselves registered under GST registration portal. So then they have to pay periodically their returns in to both central and state government authority. GST is a significant step in the reform of indirect taxation in India. It is a significant step as it has converted the India into single unified tax system. Earlier there were multiple taxes, there were lots and lots of composition, there were many other taxes and there were many confusion. There were cascading effect, there were double taxation, there were different rates for same commodity in different states. But due to GST, now it is a single uniform rate system across the nation. To mitigate cascading or double taxation, facilitating a common national market. As I've said earlier in indirect tax regime, we used to pay tax on tax. For example, if we have purchased the goods and again that good have been sold to another person and again it has been sold, so we used to pay tax on tax at every stage previously, but now since GST we pay tax on every stage of production, on every value addition, not on the same goods again and again. So GST have mitigate, or you can say have stopped cascading and double taxation effect. Prices expected to come down in the long run. In GST, it is expected that prices of the goods and services will come down in the long run. Dual GST will result in better revenue collection for state with higher consumption of goods and services. Now, dual GST, as I've already told what is dual GST, we pay GST in two parts. We pay half GST to central government and we pay half GST to state government. In with the GST which we pay to state government comes under SGST head, that is state goods and services tax, whereas The GST which we pay to central government comes under the head Central Goods and Services Tax. So because India is following dual GST, so it is betterment for both the central and state government to collect revenue, as both the governments will collect revenue individually. Other main features of GST include GST. The whole procedure of GST is an online procedure. So we have an online total for GST. Everyone, every transaction, every record, every bill, every receipt is generated or is reported on an online GST portal. So every transaction and processes of GST is done through electronic mode only. So GST is a type of structure. GST is a concurrent jurisdiction for levy and collection by the central and state. It supplies to both interstate supplies and on imports, and the registration in GST is a PAN based registration. We need registration by PAN card. So every individual, every manufacturer or seller who wants to get themselves registered in GST needs a PAN based registration, and only those sellers have to get themselves registered if their turnover is more than rupees 20 lakhs. It is in case, in some case it is rupees 10 lakhs. For some special states, the threshold limit is prescribed to 10 lakhs, but in general cases, the threshold limit is rupees 20 lakhs. So, those sellers who have more than 20 lakhs turnover have to get themselves registered under GST. So, this was the all the main features of GST. Now, what is the objective? What is the need to know GST? First of all, we need to know why there was so much of nuisance in the country that GST will reduce the income, GST will harm the people, because GST will make more transparent situation. GST will make more transparency. The amount, the tax which was not collected by government before is being collected with the help of GST. So GST is making a transparent tax structure. Every GST transaction is online. All the other different taxes which we used to pay previously, now they are all subsumed under GST. So GST, what is GST? GST is one nation, one tax. Now all the goods and services, all the indirect taxes have been subsumed under GST, and all the goods and services which we consume, we pay one tax for them, only GST. So it came into effect on July 2017, and all of us are now paying GST. In every transaction we pay, if we go to a restaurant and we eat something, so when the bill comes, it's already written GST attached. So we have to know, we need to know on which products and which services we pay GST and what is GST. It is very important for all of us to know the importance of GST, what is GST, and why it was implemented in the country, why it was needed in the country, why the previous tax structure had been stopped, and why we come to the need to implement GST. So there are few products which are outside GST, which we will discuss in next class, that what are the products which is outside GST, what is the tax structure, what was the earlier tax structure. These all topics we will cover in next lecture. Today that was only the introduction of GST, so that you can know the main GST, what is goods and services tax. If you are asked to explain it, so you can explain it. So if you have any doubt, you can contact me. That was all for today. We only discussed the introduction of GST, and it is very important for all of us to at least know the basic of goods and services tax, which was implemented in India on July 2017. Okay, thank you so much. That's all for today.